45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the place show, yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network. This is the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, channel 158, the free Odyssey app, and of course streaming live on YouTube. 855-212-4227 is the number to jump on in. 855-212-4227. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. I got Stuart Kovacs. I got Moist Mike. We are rocking and rolling with you all the way up until 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific today. Bill Reiter is going to stop by at the top of the hour. We'll preview the NBA playoffs. We'll recap the play-in tournament on the Western Conference side coming up at the top of the hour. Also get to all the Eastern Conference shenanigans that will go on tonight. And then at 4:40 p.m. Eastern, it is a Winkler Wednesday, Bart Winkler will stop by. So I guess we're making friends with everybody here at the brand new Infinity Sports Network in the 4 p.m. Eastern time hour. But I start the show off today maybe as annoyed as I've been in a long time. I had a wonderful start to my day today. I got up, didn't check social media, went to the gym, did my hour ride on the elliptical, and in the final 5 minutes of that ride, I said, okay, let me start my day. Let me start looking at social media. Let me start perusing right online and reading all the articles I need for the show. And I saw this article regarding my football team and my former head coach in Bill Belichick, and something that the current owner of the New England Patriots and Robert Kraft allegedly did, and I was sick. Absolutely sick. Thankfully, I had a good lunch with some of the bosses around here today, so I was able to eat a very nice Westfield Cobb salad, which was delicious with blue cheese and bacon. It was a very good lunch that I had. So that kind of calmed me down a little bit. But now, we're going to talk in the next 15 minutes. And quite frankly, I am going to be as critical as I've ever been before in regards to the owner of the New England Patriots and Robert Kraft, who I have never had a negative thing to say about Robert Kraft up until now. Because what Robert Kraft is accused of doing, it's classless, it's gutless, and it's such a sabotage job if I've ever seen one before in my life. Because let's not be stupid here. Let's just call it what it is. Tom Brady walked out the door in New England. He won a Super Bowl. Bill Belichick got shown the door in New England, and he was out there, and the Falcons were interested in his services this past offseason. And Robert Kraft reportedly 2 times talked to Arthur Blank, a confidant of his, and said, you can't trust Bill Belichick. That is so lame by Robert Kraft, and I don't give a rat's ass if it's true or not, if you consider Belichick to be trustworthy. When a guy wins you 6 championships, you praise him, and praise him until the cows come home. But the reason why Robert Kraft didn't do so isn't because he hates Bill Belichick. It's because he's trying to protect his own image in New England. That's what he's trying to do. Because let's just say Bill Belichick goes to Atlanta and got hired. And I don't know, in 3 seasons, won like 30 games and took the Falcons to the second round of the playoffs. What would the fans be saying in Boston? They'd be saying, who is this owner in Robert Kraft? I get it, he won 6 championships, but he allowed the greatest coach and the greatest quarterback to both leave and got absolutely nothing to show for it. And let's just assume the Patriots for the next few years continue to be miserable and be incompetent. That's why Robert Kraft called up Arthur Blank, and when he was talking to Arthur Blank said, hey, you can't really trust Bill. Because there is some truth to that. But it's crazy how Robert Kraft couldn't give a positive endorsement for Bill Belichick. Like, I don't think Bill needs any references. But when you do your due diligence, you talk to people that know Bill Belichick, even if you think you know everything about Bill Belichick. And I would like to think, even in this nasty, disgusting, backstabbing business that does occur with the NFL, that Robert Kraft would at least be able to say, yeah, you should hire Bill Belichick. Instead of saying, you never have a warm relationship with him, or you can't trust him. I am furious today because I hate the way Bill Belichick has been portrayed the last few years. And you know what? I don't know the actual involvement with Robert Kraft and the dynasty. There's like 9,000 things that you read with the dynasty that was put out there by Apple. And you have the Kraft production licensing all over it for copyright reasons and things like that. I refuse to watch the dynasty. I will not watch it. You would think that would be right up my alley as a Patriot fan. Oh, they're looking back at the dynasty. First off, I thought the dynasty documentary came out way too soon. Like, go wait 10 or 15 years. All right? Go wait 10 or 15 years, then put something out there. I know everything that pretty much happened. Or I like to think I know everything that happened. And right away, you've had the reviews about the dynasty be, oh, it's a Bill Belichick hit piece. Think about how sensitive and how weak and how just to the low levels Robert Kraft is going to here. Where at every turn, he is basically just stabbing Belichick in the back. Because the last few years didn't work out well. Brady goes to Tampa, wins a Super Bowl. We know Bill and Brady had just a terrible relationship at the end. And now Bill is no longer a part of the team. So Robert Kraft is trying to win over the public. Well, let me tell you something, Robert Kraft. We're not stupid. Everyone knows what you're trying to do. You know that Brady's untouchable. You know Brady is the GOAT. No one will ever say, a Patriot fan, a critical word about Tom Brady. But there is a little divisiveness right now in the Patriot fan base when it comes to the Brady-Belichick kind of argument. And Bill Belichick is usually very smug, let's just say. Doesn't really give you a lot, right? Treated this like the ultimate business that it is and didn't really have a human side to him. So Kraft looked at it and said, the Belichick stock is down. I could capitalize on it. I could pounce on it. And it makes me sick. It makes me sick to my stomach. When I was reading this article, the hairs on my neck were standing up and my body was turning red. If I didn't lose all this weight, I would look like a big fat tomato. Because that's how red I was. I was furious. Like, I'm glad that this article didn't come out during the show. Because I really think I would have had to get up, walk out of the studio, and I'm pretty good. Big wins, big losses, doesn't matter. I'm here, I talk, and I give you my honest opinions. But I can't curse. And I just gave a lot of expletives in my gym today. No one was there but me. There was a super that did walk by in my building, and I was just like, mother bleeper this, mother bleeper that, bleep, 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 when talking about Robert Kraft. And I've met Robert Kraft before. Up until today, I've never had a negative word to say about Robert Kraft. But to tell Arthur Blank, when I don't care what else has been reported, I fully do believe, and I know in the report it said, Belichick was never in the top 3, and we talked to Arthur Blank at the Super Bowl. Nonsense. Arthur Blank, regardless of what he said, wanted to hire Bill Belichick. They put Bill Belichick through a significant interview process where Belichick thought he was going to get the job. But for Robert Kraft to add to this hit job and this hit piece about Bill Belichick is ridiculous. Because there were people in the organization that were afraid that ultimately when Belichick gets his hands on the organization, that they would lose their job. It's one thing for like a Rich McKay or maybe Terry Fontenot, like whoever, to oppose the Belichick hire when they are in the Falcons building. But for it to come from the outside, for it to come from Robert Kraft, who, let's be real, I give Robert a lot of credit, right? He hired Bill Belichick. That was not an easy decision. We all know what happened with Parcells, Belichick, Kraft, all that stuff. We don't need to rehash history. So Belichick, we know he won, but Kraft deserves credit for hiring Belichick. Just like, okay, Tom Brady won, Belichick deserves credit in the initial years for developing Brady, drafting Brady, and keeping Brady on the roster when he was a no-name. But for Robert Kraft to not be able to give a positive and only a positive endorsement and recommendation of Robert Kraft, for him not to do that, as Emmitt Smith once said in this studio, it makes me hot. Really does. I am so heated today. And it's so classless. It's jackassery. And I really do believe that this is Kraft putting his ego first. Because Robert Kraft in his later years, and he's an honest man, right? He probably knows, he's probably true to himself, that this team's not winning another Super Bowl in the remaining years left that he has on this planet. They've won 6 of them. And for him to be apprehensive about the public perception turning on him, first off, it's a definition of being paranoid, and it's also so petty. But that's what I truly believe is going on. Because Kraft, say what you want about him, he's not a dummy. And Boston fans, they expect to be habitual winners, right? They went on a run for 20 years. Red Sox win 4 World Series. Patriots win 6 Super Bowls. The Bruins win a Stanley Cup. The Celtics win an NBA championship. You look from 2000 to 2024, it's a lot of Boston winning. And for a lot of people that can't relate to what it's like when your team constantly wins, each championship gets better and better and better. And you get addicted to winning. So even though there shouldn't be a negative word said about Brady, about Belichick, about Kraft, people have to talk about these things. And no one in the Patriot Nation will ever say a negative word about the great Tom Brady. Bill Belichick, the last few years, people started to turn on him. And it would only be inevitable. And I think this is Robert Kraft's biggest fear, that if Belichick went somewhere, and even if he didn't win a Super Bowl, but let's just say he had success and was 10 wins, 11 wins, 10 wins, maybe got to a conference title game with the Atlanta Falcons, and the Patriots are sitting there with no quarterback, no coach, 4 or 5 win team, picking in the top 5 of the draft for the next 3 years, people in Boston would say, man, Robert Kraft saved the franchise. Robert Kraft won 6 Super Bowls. But the biggest mistakes that he made was allowing Tom Brady to walk out of that building for nothing and Bill Belichick out of that building for nothing as well. And that's what I truly think is the root of the criticism of Robert Kraft that he gave to Arthur Blank when talking about a guy that he's known for 30, 40 years, like almost now, in Bill Belichick. And it stinks. It sucks that in the ending of this dynasty, and I know there's a lot of people that are happy because the Patriots kicked your behind for 20-something years. But to see this pettiness and to see this level, I don't care if you love the Patriots or you hate the Patriots, it stinks. And it's so just childish of one Robert Kraft. Samter is celebrating right now. I see him out of the corner of my eye, that fugazi football fan who just... I don't want to speak to you yet. I'm not letting you speak in this segment. You will not dance on my grave when I am doing a 15-minute monologue and try to distract me, and now you're doing the Cabbage Patch Kid dance. Santa's actually a pretty good dancer, I will say, which is very surprising. But I will not allow you to speak into the microphone in this segment. Will not happen. I know I say there's checks and balances here on the Zach Gelb Show. Well, guess what? Today, checks and balances, my ass. This is a dictatorship today, for crying out loud, because I'm pissed. I am furious. And I can't believe that I'm mad. I didn't think I'd wake up in a million years today. The day after Bill Belichick's 72nd birthday. Poor Bill. And you have Robert Kraft, who's acting like a snake, a backstabbing snake. And he's saying, I got to protect my ego. I'm afraid that the fans are one day going to turn on me because I let Brady and Belichick walk out of the organization. And you're going to tell Arthur Blank months ago, yeah, you shouldn't hire Bill Belichick because you can't trust him. Shameful. I have never in my life been more disgusted, and I've never had a reason to be disgusted with my football team, but I am disgusted today that Robert Kraft owns my football team. Doesn't mean I hate Robert Kraft. Doesn't mean that it washes away all of the brilliance that he's been a part of for 20 years and gave me 20 great years of winning championship after championship after championship. But to go to this level, Robert, it makes me sick. It is the Zach Gelb Show on CBS Sports Radio. Oh, come on. Come on. It's the Infinity Sports Network. I got to go find the quarter. That's now 3 days in a row. That's 75 cents that I'm out of. But you know what? Like Spike Eskin just left. If another network called me and said, what did you think about Spike Eskin? I wouldn't say what Robert Kraft said about Bill Belichick. I would speak glowingly about Spike Eskin, because that's what you do when people do right by you. All righty, coming on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty, another day, another quarter in the jar. The mug. Man, there's so many quarters in this mug now. There's 3 of them. When I threw the quarter in the mug, it popped right back out onto the desk. So I will gently place that. I also have a cupcake in front of me because today is Boomer Esiason's birthday. And I guess they got cupcakes today. And you know what, Samter? I'm entitled. I am. Fat Zach is coming back. I am going to eat my sorrows away over the Bill Belichick news. Over Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft being a snake in the grass. Oh, Mr. Blank, Arthur Blank, my confidant. We're in a fraternity. We're owners. When you all hate each other anyway with these NFL owners. And you can't hire Bill Belichick because of this idea that Kraft couldn't trust Belichick anymore. And Blank wouldn't be able to trust him either. Drives me nuts. So I get it. People don't like Belichick. I understand Belichick is not a warm person. But Bill Belichick, for the most part, for about, 24 years, I would say 22 years, ran the Patriots the right way. Ran them the right way. And ran them to a level that we've never seen before in the NFL, where we've seen one quarterback and one coach together win 6 championships. And that's what annoys me. Even if Robert Kraft thinks that it's true that you can't trust Belichick, you don't say that to Arthur Blank to prevent Belichick from getting a job unless it is just a sabotage job by Robert Kraft, where Robert Kraft is trying to protect his legacy because he fears, and Robert Kraft wants more credit for the dynasty because he's the damn owner of the team. And Robert Kraft fears that if Belichick goes somewhere else and wins, then everyone's looking at Brady as a Super Bowl champion without the Patriots, Belichick as a potential winner without the Patriots. Even if they don't win a Super Bowl, they will be viewed directly up against the Patriots, and the Patriots are not anywhere close to contending. So now, Samter, since you have settled down during the break, you have stopped dancing on my grave, you have stopped being just a meanie person, and you've been a poopy head today, and I haven't liked it. I've been very upset with you. Give me your analysis on my take on why Robert Kraft elected to do this with Arthur Blank as I eat another bite of this Boomer Esiason cupcake.
It is nice to know that, being a Jets fan for 40-some-odd years and now actually being with a real franchise, but seeing the dysfunction of the Jets and watching this seemingly perfect organization with this great owner and brilliant coach who spurned us and GOAT quarterback, that it all fell apart and that behind the scenes it wasn't nearly as good as it looked on paper, and that they've had multiple cheating scandals and all of these different things that happened. Yeah. At the end of the day, I can now look back at the Patriots dynasty and say, this was probably the most flawed dynasty in sports history. And it is nice to see it. I love it. I love to see the crumble of an empire, not just on the field, but off the field.
The views of Michael Samter do not reflect the views of the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Who are you turning into? Just because your name has an S in it, you think you're Skip Bayless now?
No, listen,
what the heck kind of take is that?
This is me as a former Jets fan who watched it for a very long time. I am taking so much joy and pleasure watching the dynasty crumble, and not just crumble, but just like embarrass itself. Okay. And it's just embarrassing for the Patriots now, and I love it. So it's kind of like the Yankees kept the Red Sox from winning a World Series for decades. And then
stop with your Yankees.
And then the Red Sox won the World Series by coming back from the first and only ever 3-0 deficit. So it felt like it almost, for Red Sox fans, erased all of those years of heartache. This feels like it's erasing all those years of heartache.
No, it doesn't.
As a Jets fan. It's not erasing it, but it is making it feel so much better. Oh, man,
what
as a Jets fan, all that heartache.
Hold on. You said they're the most flawed what?
Dynasty that we've seen in a long time.
You understand that this duo, Belichick and Brady, trio, let's be fair, Belichick, Brady, and Kraft won 6 Super Bowls. You know there's only one other franchise in the history of the NFL to win 6 Super Bowls, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. So for you to say this is the most flawed dynasty ever, I say this respectfully because, right, we're friends. I know that we have, like, some fun on the air and, right, just sports. This is like guys at the bar, guys and girls at the bar. We're sitting there and we're talking. This has got to be the dumbest take or your drunkest take ever.
I'm not saying that they're the worst dynasty. I'm saying flawed.
I know what you said.
Flawed meaning there are issues that you can look back at. Like we look at the Bulls dynasty, and we realize how flawed they were internally after we saw The Last Dance. Guys hated each other, guys punching each other in the face, owners hating coaches, coaches hating players, vice versa. There was a lot of flaws in that dynasty. The Warriors, there's no flaws.
I'm taking a 30 seconds.
Yes.
I'm not even entertaining this. Because
but you're misunderstanding the word flaw.
No. I understand what you're saying. I fully get what you're saying. I understand I went to Temple University. It wasn't Yale. It wasn't Harvard. I understand everything you are saying. But it just shows the loser of a football fan you are, that the greatest solace you've had in your actual football life has been, the Patriots are the most flawed dynasty ever.
I never said this was the greatest solace as a football fan.
Kiss those 6 rings. Pucker up and kiss them and shine them.
I never said this was my greatest solace. I'm just saying I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it.
I sound like a Yankee fan now. I loathe myself today.
That makes me feel even better that Patriot fans hate themselves today. I love it.
Sound like a stinking Yankee fan.
I love it. I love how much you hate yourself and how much Patriot fans hate themselves today. 2 cheating scandals, coaches who hate quarterbacks who hate coaches.
Yeah, and we win.
Owners who sabotage coaches.
All I do is win. Win no matter what.
Love it. 2 top 15 quarterbacks drafted in 3 years. I love the fall of the Patriots. I love it. I love it. I love it. But outside of that,
What are you auditioning for a role in Hamilton or something like that today?
yeah, there you go. Listen, I have
Samter's leaving the Infinity Sports Network. He's going to be the next star of Hamilton.
I have the voice of a dying cat, so I don't think Hamilton's coming knocking anytime soon. But
maybe Wicked.
Off of your point,
they could have you be the witch that flies across.
No, the witch has the best voice in the show. I've seen that show like 9 times.
Some people around here, they do call you the Wicked Witch of the West.
I could be one of the, what do they call them? Not the Oompa Loompas. What are the Lollipop Guild? I could be one of those guys.
Oompa Loompa.
No, that's the wrong movie. Lollipop Guild. I could be one of those.
You would be good. You would be good for Willy Wonka being an Oompa
represent
Loompa.
The Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild. But anyway, let's get back to your take. I don't necessarily disagree that Kraft was maybe a little bit nervous about his legacy. I don't think that's why he sabotaged Belichick.
Okay.
I think the reason he sabotaged Belichick is because they had a really bad falling out, a worse falling out than we thought that they had, and it probably got ugly to a point where Belichick said or did something that pissed or upset Kraft to the point where Kraft decided to sabotage Belichick. I don't think that Kraft is worrying about his legacy. I think that Kraft wanted to hurt Belichick because for some reason, somehow, some way, Belichick hurt Kraft in a way that we just don't understand yet. And maybe you hurt Kraft a long time ago, and Kraft's been holding on to this because and couldn't get rid of him. But I think that Kraft wanted to hurt Belichick.
You know what? I'm going to say something that I don't want to say. If that's the case, and I'm going to be very careful here and clean this up, then Robert Kraft is a petty a-hole. Okay?
Is that pettier than trying to salvage his own legacy by hurting Belichick's legacy?
They're both petty.
Which is worse?
They're both petty. They're both stupid.
Which would be worse to you?
Explain it again. Give me choice A, choice B.
So
quickly.
Choice A is your take that he just wanted to protect his own legacy. Choice B is that he is just so pissed off at Belichick that he wanted to sabotage and hurt Belichick.
Ooh, this is like, what disease would you rather have? I always love these types of games.
Gonorrhea every time.
Can you? See, this is what I don't get here. I really don't get here. I just say something that is innocuous. And you give a mouse a cookie, they want a glass of milk with these producers. They step over the line every time. It's you, Boyle, Hickey, all of you. You give a little bit, and then boom, you just try to take a blowtorch to us. I don't want you saying that. There's like some kid in a car right now listening saying, Daddy, what did that crazy man on the radio just say?
Yeah, that kid doesn't know what that G word is.
It doesn't matter. You just put a lot of parents in an awkward position. A very awkward position. So what's worse? The sabotage idea that I threw out there, or what was choice B? Oh, that he's just so hurt that now he's acting all spiteful. I actually think it's choice B. And the reason why I think it's choice B is because if I was an owner of a team, even if I hated the person's guts the last 2 years of our long working relationship, I would at least be appreciative of the 6 Super Bowls that they did win me. And I would not call up someone and say, yeah, you can't trust Bill, you can't hire him. Because I didn't hear Robert Kraft or Tom Brady, Bill Belichick have any problems when they were winning 6 championships. It was towards the end, but through the first 5, we didn't hear of any of these problems. And still after all those Super Bowls, they were all hugging and kissing one another. Sometimes Brady too much on the lips, if we're being honest. But then also, if you really hated each other, Bill was a good soldier on the last day where you know he didn't want to get up in front of the media and you know he didn't want to do a send-off, but he did that out of respect to Robert Kraft. So the respect should be mutual, is what I'm saying. All righty. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I'm going to try not to say our old network's name today, but I'm just so heated, I'm so mad, I'm so annoyed that I think I got to go get like a sleeve of quarters because I'm going to be running out of quarters. I'm going to be bankrupt. Every time I say it, I got to put some quarters right in the jar. All righty. We'll take a timeout. When we come on back, I want to see LeBron James and Steph Curry on the same team next year. I floated this out yesterday, but is it more likely to happen in LA or is it more likely to happen in Golden State? And usually, I would never say anything negative about Sweet Stuart Kovacs. But I saw a tweet from Sweet Stu last night.
An accurate tweet.
It's actually maybe, it's not as inaccurate as what Samter said earlier, but it's pretty damn close.
No.
Because here's why. I'm going to lecture you now real quickly. Stu put out a tweet that he's furious. I'll find the exact tweet during the break. But he's furious that the Lakers won last night because now they have to play the Nuggets. The audacity.
Terrible.
Thank you. Here's the tweet. Manny Rodriguez. He's a stud. I can't believe they willingly won that game just to get swept by Denver. Fire everyone. Here's why your tweet is just marinated in stupidity. You think you can control with this Lakers team when you get to win? Who says you lose last night that you're going to win to even go up against the Thunder?
They might. I'd rather chance that than get swept by the Nuggets.
I'm sorry.
I would chance it.
You're
100%.
living in the Kobe and Shaq days. You still think Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar play for this team, for crying out loud?
If I was living in the Kobe and Shaq days, I wouldn't be afraid of anybody. I'm
you
afraid
still
of the
think Magic
Nuggets.
Johnson and Kareem are together?
No.
What are you doing? I'm sorry. That tweet that I saw last night, I said, Stu, maybe he's chilling with the girlfriend and they're eating those cookies again. Maybe they're sipping on a little tequila. I go, that can't be a sober Stu. I seriously thought Anthony Gallo, your dear friend, hacked your Twitter last night.
Oh, no.
That's what I thought. Because for you, of all people, who you are usually a logical sports fan, you are level-headed. You're not like Samter or I, we're two nut jobs. You have just like a seriousness to you, an innocence to you, and you're like a smart person. For you to go down that road thinking we could lose this game and then maybe we'll win the next game, your team sucks this year.
They at least would have a chance.
You don't get to pick one to win?
They would have a chance against the Thunder. They have no chance against Denver.
We know that.
They would have a chance against the Thunder. They could beat the Thunder.
Why do you...
They've beaten the Thunder during the season.
But why do you have any confidence? I don't care about the regular season.
I don't, but I'd rather take my chances against the Thunder for the 30 to 40% chance they beat them.
I'm sorry, Stu. This take that you had last
They
night,
have no chance against Denver. Zero chance.
Okay.
They're better off not showing up.
So let me entertain this for a second, because we'll do this now, and then I'll get to my Steph LeBron stuff in about 5 minutes. You lose last night, and then you go on. You go on to play the
Kings.
It would be the Kings.
It'd be the Kings.
Yes, it would be the Kings. Sorry, because the Pelicans would have won. You go on to play the Kings. What happens if you lose to the Kings?
Then they lose.
Then your season's over.
It's already over.
You
They
at
can play
least
Denver.
guarantee life.
It's over.
You're in sports hospice, but at least the heart's still beating. Okay? You at least
very
still have
little.
life. You lose on Friday, you're done.
Okay.
You're over. It's finished with.
I understand. You're 100% right, but I'd rather take that chance than going to Denver and maybe winning one game.
And good on Darvin Ham.
Oh,
Darvin Ham telling all you idiots last night how stupid you would have been if you wanted to lose. That you wanted to lose. Yeah, I think he said, what, did they just get out of the insane asylum? Was his line in the postgame?
I don't appreciate that.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
Bad coaching.
He could be a bad coach. You could also be insane. We don't have to pick here. Both could be true. Zach Gelb here on the Infinity Sports Network. Let's get to the latest Infinity Sports Network update with a man that is wonderful, sensational. You show up today, Manny, and you put, yourself in a room or close to a room with Samter and Stu. You like today look like Margot Robbie.
Oh,
Seriously.
wow, really?
That's
Margot
how great
Robbie.
you look compared to these two guys with their stupidity.
I have a lot more facial hair than Margot Robbie, but you know what? I'll take that, and I thank you very much.
Fine. You look like Drake. They look like Fat Bastard and an Oompa Loompa.
Hey, I've heard good things about Drake recently, so you know what? I'll take that.
Did you hear who Drake was hitting on at a concert? Point out to the crowd, goes, the girl in the green dress, fine as hell. You wonder who the girl was in the green dress? Channing Crowder's wife. Channing Crowder, not happy.
Oh.
Now, Crowder was there, but I know Crowder. Crowder is not happy. I think that's actually a compliment, though. Like, if let's say I was on a date and Drake looks out in the crowd and goes, that girl in the green dress, fine as hell, and she was with me, I'd be like,
Go
way
ahead.
to go, Drake. Don't come within 5 feet of her, but way to go.
I tell her to go ahead. Are you kidding me? That'd be a great conversation to. Hey,
Well, they're married. They're married.
Ah, very well.
Channing and his wife, they're married. They're happily married.
I missed out on that point, but you know what?
But that's a pretty...
that is a compliment.
It is a boss card for her to play. Oh, you don't like things in our marriage?
Aubrey Graham wants to. He pointed me out.
I'll go to Drake. Is Drake feuding with Rick Ross, one of my favorite rappers of all time? I've been reading that
Yeah,
recently.
they've been feuding. I haven't really been keeping up on it because I'm an adult now. But yeah, Rick Ross and Drake haven't been on the same page recently.
You're in work in a hat and a T-shirt. You ain't an adult. Here is Manny Rodriguez with the latest sports flash.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, Zach, we're sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $750 on average. Call or click today and find out if we could save you hundreds on your car insurance. NBA Raptors forward Jontay Porter has been issued a lifetime ban from the league after an investigation revealed he had disclosed confidential information to bettors, limited his participation in at least one game while he was playing with the Raptors, and bet on NBA games while playing in the G League. The Pelicans will be without Zion Williamson for Friday's winner-go-home game against the Kings. Williamson suffered a strained hamstring in the fourth quarter of their loss to the Lakers. The play-in continues tonight. The Sixers will host the Heat at 7 Eastern. The winner will get the Knicks. The loser will take on the winner of the Bulls and Hawks, which is slated for 9:30 Eastern. Matinee baseball today. The Giants beat the Marlins 3-1. Rookie Keaton Winn threw 6 innings of one-run ball. The Brewers shut out the Padres earlier 1-0. The Braves lead the Astros 2-1. Twins and O's are tied at 2. The Rangers and Tigers, they're also tied. That's 4-4. The Mets, they've blown it open. It's a 9-1 lead on the Pirates. The White Sox are up on the Royals 2-1 in game 1 of a doubleheader. Nats lead the Dodgers 2-0. Yankees and Blue Jays have no score, and the Redbirds and A's are getting underway. I'm Manny Rodriguez.
You make the call. 855-212-4227. When you want to talk to us, call 855-212-4227.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Infinity Sports Network.
It's time to Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, get to ask us a question, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at Infinity or INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Bill Reiter going to join us, the host of Reiter Than You, right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Coming up at the top of the hour, Daly in the YouTube chat gave a great line. I know Daly is a big fan of mine. Lakers don't need to intentionally lose games. They'll just lose games unintentionally. And he's 100% right. Because Stu wanted the Lakers last night to intentionally lose so they could get into the other play-in game, and then they could go get the 8th seed so they play the Thunder, and they wouldn't play the Nuggets. And then when they would be trying to win that game, there's no doubt about it that they would have lost that game. And that was my big gripe with Stu's theory. Do you think, by the way, Stu, and let's do this real quickly, because last night I saw it like from one to the next. It was a double whammy. I saw your tweet, and then I saw Darvin Ham's response. So this is Darvin Ham on the idea of losing the play-in to avoid the Nuggets, and I think he was talking to Stu here. Listen up.
There was a report of what? Saying what again?
It'd be better off if you guys lost this game to avoid that.
Insane asylum sources say.
Sure.
Nah. If you
It
just
wasn't sourced. It wasn't.
Yeah, okay.
It was just chat.
Just someone that just got out of the insane asylum. Okay, I got you. Yeah, roll the dice. Roll the.
Sources tell me that Stu will be off Thursday and Friday. I'll be going back to the insane asylum. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Okay, yesterday, since we're usually ahead of the curve on this show, I said Lakers, Warriors. I wanted to see that be the matchup. Obviously, we did not get that matchup. That would have required the Lakers to lose last night and the Warriors to win. So we get that matchup for the 8th seed play-in spot. But let's just be fully transparent here. The Lakers and the Warriors, how they're currently built, are nowhere close to winning another championship. And the Warriors last night, even when they lose and got embarrassed by the Kings, still after the game, you keep on hearing from Steph, from Draymond, from Steve Kerr, how much they need Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson, solid player, is not what he once was. He used to be a great player. Too many injuries. It's such an unfortunate back end of his career for a player that was so fun to watch and was so great and was just such a sharp shooter. But this idea that the Warriors need him back just displays to me that they still don't get it. And I was on a radio show today, and one of the hosts, Alejandro Solana, said to me, it felt like that was the end of the dynasty last night. Like, it was sad last night seeing it end that way. And I said, the end of the dynasty was last year. And the reason why it was the end of the dynasty last year was based off one move. It was bringing back Draymond Green. Because you were paying based off past performances and not what they would do in the future. And it just signified to me that this organization can't break up. That this organization doesn't realize that, yes, you had a great marriage, but now the marriage doesn't work anymore. And you still have someone that could win championships in Steph Curry, and you are not elongating his championship window because you're doubling down on Draymond Green. And in all likelihood, they'll probably bring back Klay Thompson this summer. So I look at the Warriors and I look at the Lakers. They both can't get out of their own way. The Lakers last year, they went on a surprising run to the Western Conference Finals where they got spanked by the Nuggets and they got swept. And like, we're throwing a parade for the Lakers. That's not the standard of the Lakers. That's not the history of the Lakers. And having LeBron James and seeing his career coming to an end without an actual chance to win a championship, that stinks. Seeing Steph Curry in his last few prime years, because Steph could always reduce his role and just be like a great three-point shooter and be like a six-man off the bench if he wants to go play for like another 6 or 7 seasons. But he's still an elite player. LeBron's still an elite player. They both have some good years left. More so Steph than LeBron just because of the age difference. But their teams are now putting those guys in a position to win. LeBron, you could kind of blame him. I know there's been some pushback in LA because Pelinka actually has authority there. But a lot of these decisions have been made based off what LeBron wants. Not all of them, but some of them. But for the Warriors, I got to put some of that on Steph. Steph, you could have said, don't bring Draymond back. You could say, okay, it's time to move on from Klay. And I'm not saying it's easy, especially when you had that tight bond and you've won all those championships with those guys. But Steph, don't you want to win another one? Because as long as piece number 2 and piece number 3 on this team are Draymond and Klay, you're not winning another championship. And that's why I can't wait to see what happens this summer. I get it. It's unlikely that LeBron and Steph will ever be teammates. LeBron wants it. I don't know if Steph wants it. But LeBron, don't you have to make a phone call? Sure, he probably already has. Where you pick up the phone, you talk to Steph, would you want me in Golden State if I opted out? And if the answer is yes, LeBron, you opt out and you sign with the Golden State Warriors so you both could be put in a position to win a championship again. Now, if Steph doesn't have it in him to say to the Warriors, don't bring back Klay, or, okay, you got to trade Draymond this offseason, and who knows how they would even trade Draymond with this ridiculous contract, he does have an out. He's still under contract. The Warriors could still get a lot back for Steph Curry. But I don't think Steph has that in him to force a trade. Could he force a trade to the Lakers if he wants to? Yeah, he could. I don't think he would. So if this happens, I would think it's more likely that LeBron would opt out and join Steph in the Bay Area with the Golden State Warriors. And as a basketball fan, I hope it happens. Because now we're in a league of dynamic duos. And Steph on his current team can't win. LeBron and his current team can't win. So partner up two of the better players in the last 15, 20 years of the NBA, and towards their last few years of their careers, put them together and see if that's enough to win a championship. Because you have nothing to lose, because right now, you aren't winning another title with how it's currently constructed. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll talk some more hoops with Bill Reiter when we come on back. We'll get his thoughts on all the play-in stuff from last night, the NBA postseason, and my idea of LeBron joining Steph with the Golden State Warriors.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, 855-212-4227. You can always get at us, Instagram and Twitter, at Zach Gelb, but you can watch the show streaming live on YouTube. Our pal Bill Reiter, of course, hosts on this network Monday through Friday and many of these same affiliates from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern. You could also check out his new podcast, Beyond the Arc, as he does co-host that with John Gonzalez and Ashley Nicole Moss. And as we have to talk hoops, there's nobody else that I'd rather talk to besides LeBron James and maybe Steph Curry than the great Bill Reiter. Bill, how are you?
Well, Zach, I'm great, and you're right. I'm often lumped into the categories of people like LeBron and Steph, so thank you for keeping that pattern going, my friend.
It's just me praising your greatness here, Bill.
Thanks, buddy.
I can't even think who we even put on that Mount Rushmore. I don't even know who we would put as the fourth person when we have Bill Reiter, Steph Curry, and LeBron James. Oh, you know who we put on there? I know who. Your dear friend Chris Paul. I think that would be good company, right?
Oh, you want to hear a good Chris Paul line that I came up with yesterday after the Warriors lost?
Go ahead.
Chris Paul, undefeated at being defeated.
How about Stu, by the way? I know you love Stu. I love Stu. This is not like other producers that we both worked with where we enjoy ragging on that producer. We could both agree that we love Stuart Kovacs.
I love Stu.
Stu, though, wanted his team to lose last night so they could avoid the Nuggets, and then he thought his team would be a guaranteed victory, so then they would go up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't get that logic.
So I feel really bad because many people texted me last night that are Lakers fans who are in the business, and I said on the podcast that you so kindly plugged for me that a bunch of idiots that were Lakers fans wrote me in their idiocy wanting to lose that game. I did not mean Stu. I did not know that he fell into that category.
I'm sure you definitely knew that.
I didn't know. Dude, what are you doing, man? Just make the playoffs.
Well, that's my thing. This is not, right, the Lakers with Magic. This is not the Lakers with Shaq or Kobe, Kareem, Wilt, like all the legendary Lakers. I know they have LeBron. This Lakers team stinks. Like the audacity of Lakers fans to say, oh, we'll lose this game and then we'll definitely win the next game. Why would you definitely win the next game?
Yeah, I think the Lakers have a higher ceiling than most people do, and as you noted, a very low floor. The Nuggets isn't ideal, but you're right. Look what happened to the Warriors last night. The Kings shot 50% from the field, or 46% from the three-point line, and some other things happened, and the Warriors season is over. You win the game in front of you and don't risk elimination and worry about the Nuggets if you get across that bridge.
Bill Reiter here with us. Yesterday, I threw out the idea, and I know it's been thrown out there before, where I don't think the Lakers win another championship with the way that this team is currently constructed. The Warriors, they're afraid to move on from their past players to elongate the championship window of Steph Curry. I think this offseason we need to see LeBron James and Steph Curry team up together. How likely do you think that is out of 100%?
I would say the likelihood of that is 5 or 6%. And I think it would hinge on the Warriors drafting LeBron's son and then it turning out that LeBron is willing to opt out of his ridiculous player option in the summer, which I think is, in the realm of what's possible but not likely, Zach, and go play with whatever team drafts Bronny as long as it's a sort of approved team. I actually think the Warriors might roll it back, so I think the only scenario is LeBron takes the minimum, the vet minimum, to go play with Bronny Jr. because the Warriors gobble him up in the draft earlier than he should go in the hope LeBron shows up.
Do you definitely think Bronny is going to go through with this process and go to the NBA draft this year, or ultimately do you think he goes back to college?
I am worried that he will. I don't know, but that is the impression. So it's interesting, right? Because I live in L.A. I have to fly around the country to hang out with scouts and executives sometimes for my other job. So when they come here, I will try to do that instead. So I don't have to get on an airplane. And I've talked to a lot of guys, just sources over this season, who were here specifically to scout USC and to scout to a degree Bronny. And in several cases, Zach, I've had dinner with these dudes or drinks after they came from practice or a game or both, and not a single one of them thinks that Bronny is an NBA player at this stage of things. So that part of what I know, I hope not. But LeBron does what LeBron does, and everything I've heard from people that are sort of 2 degrees removed from LeBron James is they think that Bronny's going to go into the draft, and I think there's an anticipation he'll be drafted where he shouldn't be because he's LeBron's kid. So to answer your question, I think he'll be in the NBA next year, and I think it'll be a mistake.
Do you believe LeBron is then, let's say Bronny doesn't get drafted by the Lakers. Does that mean LeBron is likely done with the Lakers and goes somewhere else?
So I don't think I can dismiss it out of hand. I think he'll probably come back to L.A., but the thing about LeBron, and you know this, but it's worth telling your listeners, at almost every turn he has done the unexpected. People thought he was going to be a Knick or maybe stay in Cleveland when he went to Miami. I got mocked mercilessly when I worked at a different place on TV saying that I thought he might go back to the Cavs than he did. The Lakers were a possibility, but they were far from a guarantee in terms of what we thought he was going to do. So with LeBron, you sort of never know. It's always a bit of a surprise. I think he'll stay in L.A. I think he'll go another year. But if Bronny comes out, I think it's 50-50 that Rich Paul is LeBron's agent and friend, that Rich Paul will tell teams, it's collusion, but I think, and I don't know this, but I would speculate he would do this, he'll tell a select number of teams, you're approved to draft Bronny, and maybe someday LeBron will come, and whether that's this summer, Zach, or next summer, I think eventually LeBron James will play with his son in the NBA.
No, the other thing that we don't know, this is LeBron's dream, but LeBron has said it before. We don't know if this is Bronny's dream. And like personally, I know that, LeBron says he's going to go somewhere that will improve the draft stock of Bronny. I don't know if I'm starting out my NBA career. I want that in my locker room, if I'm being honest.
Oh, dude, you are 100% right. And I'll go further. I think that remember when the Bulls came out and they were NBA level players and everybody just wanted to go at them because of their dad? I think Bronny's going to get a low key version of that. Not everybody loves LeBron. And a lot of people have lost to LeBron. And LeBron takes all the oxygen out of the room, and there's a lot of jealousy in the NBA. He's not as beloved or even well-liked by peers as Kobe Bryant, for example, was, or even in a different way at the end, Jordan. So I think Bronny's going to have a really difficult time just being LeBron's kid, and if LeBron is there and Dad's babysitting you over your shoulder, and there's a sense that, oh, of course Bronny got drafted by whatever, the Thunder, or whoever it is, the Grizzlies, whoever, the Knicks, whoever, just so Dad would come play with him, I think it's going to make Bronny Jr.'s life a lot harder every single day.
Last night, it was looking like Bill Reiter was the best moment of Zion Williamson's young career so far, and then it has a terrible end with the injury, and now he has a hamstring injury, and who knows when we'll see him next. Is this just what it is with Zion, that even when he plays well, we're always just going to be thinking, okay, he's going to eventually get hurt?
Yeah, it is. So here's the comp, and I think you can glass half full this, or you can glass half empty this, but he's a modern sort of emerging version of Joel Embiid, because I think what you saw yesterday is that Zion can be a star when it matters, and that 40 points was his career high, and it was a remarkable performance, and he did dominate emotionally, physically, in every way LeBron James in that fourth quarter, and the Pelicans, I think, would have won that game if he hadn't gone out with 3 minutes and change, and then the injury hit. So yes, I think this is what it is. The question becomes, is it what it is to the degree that he never gets to a level where, like Embiid, he's winning MVPs, he's considered a top 3 player, or is he able to largely be durable? The guy played, 70 games, I think, this year, and there will just be times where he gets hurt, and you hope it's not every time. I don't think we know, but it is yes, his inability to stay healthy, the track record of injuries, and the heights he can go to on a basketball court, and we saw last night against maybe the best player of all time in what is basically a playoff game, felt like a playoff game, means he's both going to be injury-prone and I think when he's not hurt, going to be a legitimate factor for whatever team he plays for to make them really, really good.
Bill Reiter, is Klay Thompson back with the Warriors next year?
He should not be. I think for him and the Warriors, he should not be. I don't think the Warriors dynasty is over, and I could bore you with reasons why I think there's a recalibration there, but I do think Klay is an important piece. So let's say that he wants to get paid, whatever, $40 million a year or whatever he can get on the market. Go to the Thunder, go to the Magic, go to a young team, because Klay's a great dude in the locker room. Be that veteran, bring some shooting. You don't have to be the guy. You can be the sixth man of the year. That works for everybody, and that gives the Warriors some freedom in terms of the cap. You move on from Chris Paul, that dude, and now you can do the mid-level exception. You can recalibrate a little bit. And I think there's an interesting team for the Warriors. Or, Zach, I think there's a world where you keep Klay on, because he actually had a pretty good year if you look at the totality of the stats. He's just not reliable. But you got to pay him, I don't know, I'm just making $18 million a year, right, or 16 or whatever you can negotiate. That's not a whole bunch of money. It's less than his market value. And then I think you can do some things and the Warriors are okay. What the Warriors cannot do is pay him the money that he's going to want. Money is what motivates him, and who am I to say, don't go get your bag. So I think it's 50-50. If he's back, I hope it's at a reduced price because that's what he wants, and he understands that's what the Warriors need.
I understand the human element to it, where these guys are so close because they won all these championships together. And I hate to put it all on Steph, but I don't think much is going to change with the Warriors organization, and I don't think Steph's going to do this. But there's no way Draymond should have been given that deal that he was given last year, and I said that at the time. If what you're saying is true that you get Klay at 17 or 18 million, I'm fine. But if they pay him another $40 million a year contract, they're crazy. Is there some talks in the NBA circles that you're in, Bill Reiter, about Steph maybe taking a little bit more active role and being different in regards to breaking up this core?
That's not his energy. So, I've had those conversations with folks that are out there, including people that came out of that Warriors organization. Because as you know, Zach, when you succeed in any of these leagues, your team succeeds, you get jobs, right? You're a scout or an assistant GM. Everybody sort of fans out there. So I talked to a lot of folks, including former Warriors people, and that's just not how he's built. Also, Mike Dunleavy Jr. is the new guy that runs basketball ops because Bob Myers left. It's not like Steph doesn't know him or like him, but they don't have the same relationship he had with Bob Myers. I think they're going to leave that, and that's a pretty top-down organization, and Steph's a pretty chill guy.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say this to you. I think it's worth saying. Since Draymond Green came back from suspension and got into the starting lineup at the end of January in that loss to the Lakers in double overtime, which is a 37-game sample size. You're talking basically half the season. Over that stretch, the Warriors had the second-best record in the NBA behind only the Celtics. They were top 6 in offensive and defensive rating. They were 4th in net rating. I can give you all the geeky stats, but the point is they were actually pretty good. And had Draymond not been an idiot and been suspended for his shenanigans, and they'd won at the same clip when he was there, they would have been the 6th seed, and we'd be talking Warriors, Suns. And so I think there's major changes that are coming. But like with LeBron, there's always a chance to win whatever dynasty he is or isn't a part of. I think if you have Steph for the next few years, you have a chance. But I don't think Steph's going to be the one pushing one direction or the other on what that looks like.
Bill Reiter, if the Celtics and Nuggets don't get to the finals, who gets to the finals in the East and who gets to the finals out of the West?
Great question. Okay, so I think Boston can lose. I think Boston can lose to the winner of tonight's play-in game, right? If they have to play the Heat or Philly. Okay, I'm going to go. You tell me if this is a good answer. I'm not going to be pretty daddy from over on my show. We won't answer any questions. Can I say the winner of tonight's game, the series between them and the Knicks? Because that's the answer. If it's not specific enough, I'll go Sixers. If you want specific, I'll go Sixers beat the Heat tonight. They beat the Knicks in a drag-out 7-game battle. They beat the Bucks in 3 because Doc Rivers just quit. Doc Rivers, and then they barely get past the Celtics, and it's the Sixers. On the Western Conference side, man, it's a great question. The Thunder are too young and too small.
And here's the thing. I know the Nuggets are the 2, but the Nuggets are by far and away the best team.
They're winning. Yeah, the Celtics may not make
in the NBA, let me be clear. Until someone takes down the Nuggets, I will pick them every time in this postseason.
I don't even know how to answer your question. I think the Dallas Mavericks, but Kyrie Irving's on that team, so I feel very stupid saying that out loud.
Now you sound like Pretty Daddy, by the way. You just said you weren't going to sound like him. You're refusing to answer the back part of the question.
I said the Mavericks.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, don't. Oh man, those are. I mean, that'd be like me calling you Mike Samter or something. You know, like let's draw some lines, buddy.
He is Bill Reiter. Make sure you check out his new podcast in addition to his daily show right here on the Infinity Sports Network, where you can catch him 10 a.m. to noon Eastern. But also check out John Gonzalez, Ashley Nicole Moss, and Bill Reiter via CBS Sports HQ on introducing their new podcast, Beyond the Arc. Right? Did I get everything right on that end?
You're a pro. You're the absolute best, and you crushed it.
I appreciate it. Bill, thanks so much. Enjoy the postseason.
Be about.
There you go. Bill Reiter joining us on the Zach Gelb Show on the brand new Infinity Sports Network. I think anytime I'm tempted to say the old network name, I just pause, I slow down, and I'm just like, the brand new Infinity Sports Network. All righty, we will take a timeout. I did not ask Bill about Jontay Porter and his ban from the NBA. So we will talk about that and gambling in sports because we got a whole lot more details in regards to Jontay Porter, who was banned today for life from the NBA. Coming on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Infinity Sports Network.
It is the Infinity Sports Network. I am Zach Gelb. This is the Zach Gelb Show. I guess we now have closure on the Jontay Porter situation. Because I'll never forget, I know it's not like ancient history, but when this story did come out, I said to myself, yeah, we're not getting told the entire story. Because the first like red flag and red alarm that went off in my cabeza is, who's betting unders for Jontay Porter? Like, if you're trying to be discreet about this, can you maybe get involved with someone that we actually know? You know, a big name? Like, you have to have a problem or you have to have inside information. If you are firing up your app and saying, okay, I'm betting the under tonight and placing a big wager on Jontay Porter. I still think there's parts of this story that we still don't know, even with finding out a lot more today. But how stupid can you be when you're Jontay Porter and you're giving out information or even betting yourself, and you're going to have in one way people and a large amount of money and winnings and things like that, where you get put under investigation or your bets get put under investigation because Jontay Porter unders were popular. Like, you could have told me before the year started, go back to January. Yeah, there's going to be a Jontay Porter gambling scandal. Okay. So what information did he know and what was he giving out? If you would have told me that people were betting Jontay Porter unders, would have never believed it. It's inconceivable. It really, and I get it. The idea of a player giving out information or a player betting, that to me is not foreign. That's not inconceivable. But can you at least be slick about it? Got to be like a little creative about it. But people were betting on Jontay Porter unders. Now, here's the new information today. So, Jontay Porter, lifetime ban for gambling, violating the league's gambling rules. From Adrian Wojnarowski, Wojbomb. Per league statement, the league's investigation found that prior to the Raptors' March 20th game, Porter disclosed confidential information about his own health status to an individual he knew to be an NBA bettor. Another individual with whom Porter associated and knew to be an NBA bettor subsequently placed an $80,000 parlay proposition bet with an online sportsbook to win $1.1 million, wagering that Porter would underperform in the March 20th game. Think about that statement for a second. Samter, let's say you were friends with Jontay Porter. And Jontay Porter hits you up. He knows you're a big NBA bettor. And he's like, oh, I'm not feeling great. My health's not in a good spot right now. Do what you want with that information. If you were trying to be like slick and sly with it, I don't think you would put down $80,000 on a parlay to win $1.1 million. Like, you got to be a little bit discreet. That's getting the information. If you wanted to make this maybe a little bit long and a little bit of a constant theme and you're going to get this inside information, you can't be putting all this money down on such an irrelevant player, and it's such an obscure bet. I forget, like, there was some baseball thing last year. Remember, there was like a manager or someone was giving out information, or a coach, and all of a sudden there was this one school's baseball game where it was like bet. There was heavy action. I think it was LSU, maybe? I forget who.
Maybe Alabama or LSU.
Yeah, something like that. But one of the colleges. Who's betting that regularly? You know, I place bets. I bet college football. I bet NFL. I'll bet a little hockey here or there. I hate betting basketball. But I'm not betting college baseball. Or if I'm betting on the NBA, I'm not betting on Jontay Porter, for crying out loud.
Well, so here's the thing. First of all, it was Brad Bohannon, the former Alabama baseball coach, who was fired and banned for 15 years.
That's it?
Yeah. I mean, listen.
How old is he? He's probably not going to return anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But I think part of it is, you mentioned this. He's a nondescript. He's a random, crappy bench player, right? So maybe the better
kick him while he's down. By the way,
well, I mean, the guy averaged like 4 minutes a game over his career. I'm not. You know,
he's known for being Michael Porter Jr.'s brother.
Yeah,
right.
And he was a top level recruit. Him and the Porter brothers, right? Everyone's talking about the Porters as being the next Balls, right? It was like the Ball family.
That doesn't sound right when you say that.
Yeah, I know, the Ball family and the Porter family. They were kind of like interchangeable. But as a bettor, I'm not looking at the long game with Jontay Porter, because who knows how much longer he's going to be in the league.
Fine.
So as a bettor, I'm going to go as far in as possible, as quickly as possible. No, maybe Jontay Porter gets caught. That doesn't bother me. I just cashed out $3 million or whatever it's going to be.
I wonder I'm sure you have to get that money back, though, because now this is an investigation and everything.
Well, so here's the reality. Jontay Porter committed a cardinal sin of sport. But a gambler who uses inside information, is that illegal?
I think so.
Are you not allowed to get information from players?
That sounds illegal to me.
I mean, it sounds...
I'm not an expert. I'm not a legal expert. That is clear. I did not go to law school. I wouldn't even lasted a second in law school. They would have kicked me out. They would look at me. They say, "You're a schlub. Get on out. You're not intelligent enough for this." That just doesn't sound right. It sounds like insider trading, honestly. That's what it sounds like to me. It's like if someone in the stock market calls me up that works as, "Oh, I got this tip for you," and then you go try to make money off of it. That's not legal. So who knows the answer to that question? But per the NBA as well, according to Woj, in addition, from January through March 24th, 2024, while traveling with the Raptors or the Raptors 905, which is their G League affiliate, Porter placed at least 13 bets on NBA games using an associate's online betting account. These bets ranged in size from $15, see, he's one of us for a little bit, and then to $22,000, not one of us, for a total of $54,000. And the total payout from these bets was over $76,000, resulting in net winnings of nearly $22,000. None of the bets involved any game in which Porter played. But according to Woj, the most damaging for Porter and the NBA itself, he bet the Raptors to lose, according to the league's investigation. Yeah, this guy's done. Now, can I just throw this out there? And I'd be curious what the response is. Giannis Antetokounmpo did this. Let's just say. He didn't do it. But let's just say this was Giannis Antetokounmpo, the second best player in the NBA behind Nikola Jokic, in my opinion. Is Giannis getting a lifetime ban? Stu? Just give me a yes or no, because I have my answer.
I think no.
Santer?
I think you have to.
I think he got to as well. I don't know if he would. I'm with Stu. I pause and go, ooh, Giannis? Because he bet on the NBA. Can't do that. Giannis, if this was him, would be betting on the Bucks at least one time to lose. And you're giving out inside information. But here's the difference. When it's Jontay Porter unders, we're all like, that doesn't impact the game anyway. if Giannis was saying, oh, take my under tonight, even if it has to do with an injury or something, that impacts the game in a big way. And I think even though Giannis is a lovable superstar, if he was doing this, he didn't, just to be clear. I think I would lean more with Samter that, yeah, you'd have to get rid of him because you compromise the integrity of the game. And let me just be clear here. There are going to be people, I don't think a lot, but there will be some, whenever we have this issue, it happened with Calvin Ridley. Well, the leagues are all in bed with these gambling companies. So what's the big deal? As long as the player, like this is different, he's betting on the team to lose. And he was, I gave out information for people to bet his unders. But if like he was just betting on, I don't know, a random Pelicans Thunder game, there will be some that say, well, I could bet. Why can't he bet? Well, let me just tell you how life works, folks. We work for a company here. Do I agree with every rule that the company has? No. But it doesn't matter if I agree or disagree with the rules. The rules are the rules of the people that sign my paycheck. So if they tell me, Zach, you can't do X, Y, and Z, and I violate one of their rules, X, Y, and Z, I have to face the music, and I have to face the punitive action. And it's amazing all the time in these gambling conversations why people go, well, shame on the leagues for encouraging it. Shame on the league for making more money and getting into bed with all these gambling companies. The owners run the league. The commissioner runs the league. They're allowed to do it, but there are rules. And this isn't the first time this has happened, and it won't be the last time. But look at this. In the four major sports, we've had issues with the NFL when it comes to gambling already. We've had now a big issue in the NBA. Heck, I know that his interpreter ended up being like one of the biggest frauds ever, but look what Shohei Ohtani got involved with. I don't know of anything that's happened in the NHL, but I'm talking about the four major sports. And this is going to always be something that you have to be concerned about. Now, it's unfortunate. It's extremely unfortunate. But I don't think anyone has sympathy, let me be clear today, for Jontay Porter, because it's Jontay Porter, for crying out loud. But this is a situation that this is the league's biggest nightmare, where you're giving out information. I know he wasn't playing in the game where I guess he bet against the Raptors, but that's your team. Like, at least some people said with Pete Rose, oh, he was betting on himself. He was betting on his team to win when he was the manager. Still, you can't be doing that. The rules are the rules. So that's where I currently sit with this Jontay Porter situation. It's kind of crazy what it did turn into. Not stunning, but just kind of crazy. But when this story first came out, I remember saying it into this, the words into the microphone, there's got to be something else here. And now we found out what happened. Do you think at all this impacts Samter, the Nuggets? Because Michael Porter Jr. made it clear that, his brother, he had to do the right thing. He couldn't see his brother get involved in this. Does this impact maybe Michael Porter Jr. a little bit when they go up against the Lakers? Just wondering.
I mean, we've seen enough times where, like, off-the-field kind of stuff, especially family-related off-the-field stuff, doesn't seem to impact players. In fact, oftentimes, it leads them to play better because now they're using the game to kind of escape the off-court drama. Mm-hmm. However, the one way I think it could potentially impact Michael Porter, if your brother is doing this, how much did Michael Porter know? Did Michael Porter have any connection to it? Good point. This is your brother. We're not talking about a friend.
It's a slippery slope, but you're
I'm
not wrong.
Making any accusations. Yeah. I'm just hypothesizing. This is your brother, right? A brother that you played basketball with your whole life, that you've grown up with, that you play the same sport with and have the same job. It's not just like a brother that you're estranged. This is like probably his best friend. Mm-hmm. He probably knows everything that Jontay's doing. You would think.
But there are times whether it comes with gambling, drug addiction, alcohol.
We saw it with Shohei and Ipe, right? Sometimes your best friend and your confidant are doing things behind your back. and in spite of you and hurting you. So I'm not saying that he knew. I'm not accusing him of anything.
But people will speculate that he knew, even if he didn't.
And if the NBA is looking into it, and if Michael Porter did have anything to do with it, or Michael Porter's dad had anything to do with it, right? The family was involved in any way. Maybe that is when it starts impacting Michael Porter.
Well, here's the good news for the Nuggets. You got the Lakers in the first round. All right?
That's not right.
It's pretty much a buy anyway.
Not right.
So Michael Porter gets caught up in a little bit of this drama with his brother. No big deal. You got to buy, according to Stu. His Lakers win. They're definitely going to get eliminated. It's easy peasy here. Right, Stu? Easy peasy.
They're lucky to have the Lakers. Yep, you are right. I can't argue with you there.
I see Bart Winkler has connected to the Zoom. He looks very angry today. I think Bart Winkler looks very angry. Maybe he's a Jontay Porter defender. Who knows? Maybe Bart was the one that Jontay Porter was giving the information to bet the under on Jontay Porter. We're coming on back on the Infinity Sports Network for the Infinity Sports Network's first ever Winkler Wednesday. How about that? Update time first. Here is Manny Rodriguez.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
All right, Zach, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal, the United States Justice Department has agreed to pay around 100 victims of disgraced former Team USA Dr. Larry Nassar approximately $100 million for the FBI's failure to properly investigate reports of Nassar's sexual assaults against America's top gymnasts and others. NBA Raptors forward Jontay Porter has been banned from the league for life after an investigation revealed numerous gambling violations. The play-in continues in said NBA with the Eastern Conference tonight. The Sixers are hosting the Heat at 7 Eastern. The winner will take on the Knicks. The loser, well, they will have to await the winner of the Bulls-Hawks game slated for 9:30 Eastern. Tons of matinee baseball today. Clutch hitting by the Rangers pushes them to a 5-4 win over the Tigers. A Cedric Mullins walk-off home run pushes the O's past the Twins 4-2. The Giants squished the Fish in Miami 3-1. The Mets, they beat the Pirates 9-1. 9 wins for the Mets in their last 12 games. The Brewers, they beat the Padres by the minimum 1-0. In progress, Astros lead the Bravos 4-2. The Blue Jays are up 2-0 on the Yankees. The Royals 4-2 lead on the White Sox. A 1-0 lead for the D-backs. A 2-0 lead for the Nationals over the Dodgers. A 1-0 lead for the Reds over the M's. And the A's lead the Cardinals 2-1. I'm Manny Rodriguez.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's an epic battle for the Infinity Sports Network. Zach.
Lethargic, putrid, pathetic. Quitters. They're quitters. What a joke.
Bart.
Something fun to talk about. That's what we do here. It's like, hey, guys, it's like we're just hanging out at a bar talking sports.
It's time for Winkler Wednesday. Only on the Zach Gelb Show.
Nice job out of you guys, Doug, Stu, and Samter. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. I didn't realize this until right now, that I only had one button done on my shirt today. Did not realize it. So I was showing off some chest hair today, the little chest hair that I have. Maybe I should open up an OnlyFans. I will now be professional since Bart Winkler is joining us. Hello, Bart.
I didn't say you could put that button back up.
I know you enjoyed it. No wonder why you joined the Zoom a little bit earlier today. You heard that I had only one button on the shirt. Bart was like, oh, I got to come see what Zach Gelb's looking like today.
You know that's true. Yeah, you know that's true.
Anyway, let me start you off with this Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick nonsense. I was so annoyed when I was reading it because I just think it's so lame and gutless by Robert Kraft to talk to another owner when Belichick won you 6 Super Bowls and go, yeah, you can't trust him, so you probably shouldn't hire him.
Well, I think that shows like where these owners are in like this level of stratosphere and community. They are not. They if they're doing this to Bill Belichick, I mean, they are just like the super wealthy, the super
backstabbing some of the bitches. That's what they are.
I'm not saying Illuminati, but they are certainly on a level of like, what are you doing? And it's interesting because they did play in the Super Bowl, as we know. Is there some part of Robert Kraft that doesn't want to see Bill Belichick get hired? Because he already see Tom Brady go somewhere and win. Now he doesn't want to see Bill Belichick go somewhere and win. So whatever he can do to put out that fire, he's going to do.
Bart, this is why you're a smart man. Because that's what I led the show with. And Samter looked at me like I was the dumbest person on this planet, because this is clearly a sabotage job by Robert Kraft. Brady, you're never going to win. The fan base adores Brady. With how things ended in New England, I still adore Belichick, but some have turned on him. Like I said, it was time to wrap it up and get him on out, but still I respect Bill Belichick for what he was able to do and win 6 championships. But Kraft knows that even if Belichick doesn't go to Atlanta and win a Super Bowl, let's say they go win 3 years of double-digit games and they go to an NFC title game, people are going to look at the Patriots and say, oh, well, Brady walked out the door, you got nothing. Belichick walked out the door, you got nothing. The Patriots then stink for the next 5 years, however many years it's going to be, and people start to turn on Robert Kraft. And I think this is just purely ego, and it's ego-driven by Robert.
Well, it's insane, too, because they won 6 Super Bowls together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they reached a level of success that no one has and may never again. And even with all that success, like nothing ever ends well. I think John Elway's career was the only thing that ended well, because even with like the Warriors last night, now we're wondering what's going to happen with them. And it was very sad if you're a Warriors fan and they're like, oh, they won 4 titles and you're still like experiencing that level of, oh, we can't break this up. We can't do this. There's no level of satisfaction. It's like I was at the casino last weekend. I was up a couple of $100 on a slot machine. I walked out needing to borrow money for a cab.
Wait, you should have talked to Jontay Porter beforehand. You would have won some money.
Hey, I have a question about Jontay Porter. Here's my angle on Jontay Porter. Because it's a big story, obviously, but I don't think it transcends the NBA. You know, like Shohei Ohtani, is he gambling? Oh my God, that
because of the lack of big name.
Yeah. So my question is, what name in the NBA is the cutoff?
So it's funny you say this. I just threw out this name, and this is perfect for you, Bart Winkler. What happens if this was Giannis Antetokounmpo? Is he banned for life today?
Oh, yeah.
Banned for life.
This would be a huge story. If it was Thanasis Antetokounmpo, it'd be a huge story.
Mm-hmm.
Because his brother, Jontay's brother plays, but on a completely different team. Thanasis plays on his team with Giannis. Yeah.
Okay, how about this?
It is easier to ban for life a guy that most fans are like, who's this guy now? He's in the what?
Steph Curry or LeBron James do this. Banned for life, yes or no?
Oh, that's easier because they're towards the end of their career.
So is there a player in the league that
wouldn't be banned for life?
That could give inside information? You bet the unders, and he even bet. I don't think he played in the game from what I read, but he bet his team to lose one game.
Yeah.
So is there a play? I agree with what you're saying. That was my first reaction. I asked the Samter and Stu was like, I don't know if Giannis will get banned. And Samter's like, absolutely. And at first I was like, yeah, I don't know, but I think you have to. So is there a player in the league that they would say his stardom's so big that we wouldn't ban him for life that is maybe younger?
No.
Wemby?
Everyone gets banned. There's only... I thought Shohei might be a guy, but I think they would have had to ban Shohei because they banned Pete Rose. I think there is only one person on earth in any sport that could gamble and not get banned.
Let me guess. I want to say Caitlin Clark, but...
That's it!
Oh, okay. I was going to say, what about Patrick Mahomes? I was between Mahomes and Clark. Is Caitlin Clark is she the biggest star in sports right now, in your opinion?
No, but she is the most important to her league.
Absolutely.
Without question. So obviously a big star, but she has a lot of I honestly think that what the WNBA does with this attention is I'm more riveted by that than anything I'm riveted in sports right now. Because I'm just like, how are they going to screw this up?
Yeah, Bart Winkler's here with us. You always have to just look for the worst in people, how they're going to screw it up. How about how they make it the best thing ever? And how about they change women's sports? That would be pretty fun. But I know something that I don't know how much you want to talk about it. Now, I know you better than most, and I know your brother, right? Doesn't your brother work for the Warriors?
He does.
So what are your thoughts about the future of the Golden State Warriors, Bart Winkler? This is like a little Jontay Porter, Michael Porter Jr. now.
I texted him something last night that he didn't like, so.
Wait, did you text your brother like ding dong, the dynasty is dead?
No, I said Clay better learn Chinese.
You texted that to your brother, Bart's brother works on the PR staff for the Golden State Warriors. You don't even let him sulk in his sorrows for a second, and you're dancing on the grave.
No, I'm not. I was just being
funny.
I was just being funny. They got 4 titles, man.
Yeah, that's true. Now,
I thought there could be a big breakout.
Yeah.
I think that, like, obviously, and you've been on this, we've been talking about this, Bob Myers, it's pretty clear that he left because he didn't want to deal with this.
Oh, 100%. He didn't want to break them up. And I love Steph, and I don't think Steph has this in him, but it's on him. He's the most powerful person in that organization. He didn't do it last year when he should have and said, okay, thank Draymond, but we don't need him anymore. And they keep on doubling down on Draymond, which is crazy. And Bill Reiter joined us earlier because this is the Infinity Sports Network hour now on the Infinity Sports Network. And Bill was saying Clay comes back like 17 or 18 million, okay, but if he wants another $40 million, you can't pay him that with what he is at this stage of his career.
Well, and I thought maybe this was going to be like an exit, and you hate to have him go out that way. But then when Steve Kerr gets up there and says, we need him, I mean, Steve Kerr was unless Steve Kerr's trying to be, hey, I don't want blood on my hands if the Warriors get rid of him. It ain't because of me. It's going to be a front office move, and I want to be out there showing support for my guys. I just think, like, if they do trade Clay or get rid of Clay, free agent, if they move on from Clay, and then that opens the door, you're trading Draymond. I mean, if Clay's
but who's going to trade for Draymond right now?
Well, that's a good question. Also, how are the Warriors going to get better?
I have the answer.
They're stuck. I think they're stuck where
if
they get rid of these guys, they're worse, but this group's never going to win a title again. What's your hypothesis?
Steph calls up LeBron and says, LeBron, opt out and come join me in the Bay Area. Steph and LeBron, that's a championship team right there.
So LeBron, yeah, because Steph ain't going to L.A.
No, he won't play the role of the villain.
There's even odds out for like where Steph could play if he played somewhere else. I just can't picture him in another uniform.
By the way, my favorite Klay Thompson memory ever has nothing to do with all the great shots that he hit and all the legendary three-pointers. It's when Bart Winkler did like an In Between Two Ferns podcast with Klay Thompson. And you didn't, like how I did not realize that I only had one button on my shirt today. Bart didn't realize that his pocket was out during the entire interview with Klay Thompson. It was phenomenal.
I mean, it wasn't supposed to be but it was supposed to be a legitimate interview, and I think it went fine. But the
interview was great.
Because my phone was in my pocket, and I thought that would look distracting because there was a big bulge. So don't say anything. So then I took my phone out and threw it on the hotel bed of the room we were in, but then the pocket came out with it, and I didn't realize.
Gotcha. Yeah, you were a little nervous. A little nervous. We're going to get Klay back on this summer, though?
Klay Thompson in a hotel room. I was nervous, yeah.
Will Klay come back on this summer with you?
Not after what I text my brother.
We need a big push on the Infinity Sports Network now. We need Klay. We need Klay on the Infinity Sports Network. If I reach out to your brother, can I suck up to your brother here? Because I have an NBA media guide. If I reach out to him, do you think he knows who I am, your brother?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That wasn't very convincing. Oh, yeah. But
I'm not even sure that half the hosts on this network know who I am yet. So you're still fine.
I think I'm going to reach out to your brother and be like, what a jerk your brother was. I can't believe he texted you that. And then see what he says. So
I should have kept that private. I regret it.
It was a very funny line, though, I will say. He is Bart Winkler, the host of the Bart Winkler Show on the Infinity Sports Network, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern Time. I only got 20 seconds. How many times have you referred to the network as CBS Sports Radio, by the way, since the change on Monday?
I said the phone number once.
That's the toughest part.
4, but because there's a pause, you go 4, I always think, and then I go 227.
There we go. All righty. We're all going to have to get help in trying to just get the new name.
I've only been here for a week, too, so it don't matter.
Bart, we'll see you next week. Thank you, my man.
See ya.
There he is, Bart Winkler. Make sure you listen to him tonight on many of these same Infinity Sports Network stations from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern Time. We're coming on back. Bill Belichick. Where will he be coaching next year? I have a thought.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
All righty, hour number 3 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. And Robert Kraft, for a long, long time, I had no issue with Robert Kraft. For a long, long time, Robert Kraft was my favorite owner in the NFL. But today, let's just call a spade a spade. Robert Kraft is coming off like a backstabbing snake. Bill Belichick wins 6 Super Bowls for you, and he's trying to get the job with the Atlanta Falcons, and you talk reportedly, according to ESPN, and you call up Arthur Blank, and Arthur Blank's doing his due diligence, and you say, you can't trust Bill. You'll never have a warm conversation with Bill Belichick. I don't care what happened at the end of the Patriot dynasty. I don't care that Robert Kraft's still annoyed with Bill Belichick for getting rid of Tom Brady and then sabotaging pretty much Mac Jones, where Mac Jones had a good year and then you surround him with just buffoon 1 and buffoon 2 with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge to be the offensive coordinators of this team and never get him a number 1 weapon. Regardless how it ended, and this was a ugly, ugly, ugly ending the last 2 years at one Patriot place, really the last year, because 2 years ago they were in the playoff hunt until they got eliminated the last week of the season. But this year was the year where it really bottomed out. But you look back at the totality of the 20-plus year marriage of Belichick and Kraft, 6 Super Bowls. You went from the joke of the league, where my uncle, who has season tickets, who used to tell me when he was growing up in Framingham, Massachusetts, that they had 4 season tickets. They would go to games at the old stadium, and they could get like 15 people in off 4 tickets because no one was going to the games, and they didn't care. You were in that just joke pit of a team where you were just in like the pit of misery, right? With the commercial, the Dilly Dilly commercial. You were in the pit of misery. And then you went to a level that only one other team has the same amount of Lombardi trophies as you do. The difference is that other team, different coaches, different quarterbacks. Your coach and your quarterback did what the entire league has done for one time with one team in a 20-year period, and that's win 6 Super Bowls. That guy, you can't give a positive reference. You can't give a positive endorsement to, and it ends up being a major reason why Bill Belichick didn't get hired in Atlanta. And I know the Falcons in this article could leak out, that multiple people didn't have Bill as a top 3 choice. My ass. That's a bunch of hogwash. That's a bunch of baloney. And that is just absolutely not true. And if it is true, it shows you how much of a bunch of dopes the Falcons are. The one thing not to hire Bill, to not have him in your top 3 choices, that's crazy. That's inconceivable to me. You don't interview Bill Belichick multiple times and have Bill Belichick on Arthur Blank's yacht. And Bill Belichick doesn't think he has a chance of getting the job, and then he wasn't a top 3 candidate. when it came down to who you were going to recommend to hire? Come on. I don't buy that for a second. Now, Arthur Blank, he did join us at the Super Bowl, and he talked about this. So let's play a little bit, look back at that conversation. This is when I asked Arthur Blank, because Boomer Esiason here at CBS Sports Network and WFAN, Boomer Esiason, a colleague of ours, he did have a report that Bill Belichick was offered the job, and Bill Belichick turned down the Atlanta Falcons. So when I asked Arthur Blank to clarify this, this is what Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, had to say about the entire interview process with the hoodie.
We had 2 good interviews with Bill. Make it absolutely clear, Bill never asked for, never requested, never required any sort of power structure. He was interested only working in collaboration. I think over 24 years he had built up a certain structure in New England that, winning 6 Super Bowls and the league had changed over time. I think they felt ready for a change, and Bill understood that, et cetera, so they moved on. I think Bill was primarily interested in being a head coach. Certainly his credentials over 24 years are incredible. Last 4 years have not been probably the best, and people could argue, well, neither have his draft picks and his free agency, but, it's a variety of things. So we had healthy conversations with him. No job was ever offered to him, absolutely. 100%, 1,000% the truth, and Bill will tell you the same thing.
So that's what Arthur Blank had to say. My biggest takeaway looking back at that now is it was an extensive interview process. I don't think you put the ball in the red zone, for a football analogy, with Bill Belichick if you don't at least contemplate hiring him, and that he would not at least be a top 3 candidate for the job. Especially just respect for Bill that Arthur Blank would have. But you listen back to that audio. Here's another thing that stands out to me. It was the line where Arthur Blank said he was fine working with Terry Fontenot, where he wasn't looking for the power. Now, some of us could roll our eyes at that and say, okay, he would play nice for a year. And then a year after he established himself, won some games with Atlanta, he would say, okay, look at what I've done for this organization. We're going to do this my way or the highway. But the fact that Bill was at least playing the part that way makes me think that he's going to get a job again. I understand when you're a full year out, it's then tough to get back in. But we've seen coaches before restore their image. And they've had a lot of restoring to do compared to this guy who is a 6-time Super Bowl champion and considered one of, if not the greatest coach of all time. Like, remember Mike McCarthy? He was seen on that TV show where he was embracing all the analytics. Is Mike McCarthy now really an analytics coach? No, he got another opportunity. He played the part. And then Jerry Jones had that campfire at the slumber party at his house that I think didn't end up happening, but I like to still say that it happened. They had their milk and cookies, and they roasted the mallow, and then boom, Mike McCarthy got the Cowboys job. So how is Bill Belichick going to restore his image? Bill Belichick going to show some personality. Bill Belichick pops up on Pat McAfee's show today. Bill Belichick, he's going to be working, I think, for Omaha Productions, they're saying, so he's going to be on, that Manning cast, I guess? And he'll go on people's shows that have big names and have big personalities and that are likable. Peyton Manning being one, Pat McAfee being another. And there will be now a newfound human side to Bill Belichick, and people will go, oh, he's probably not that bad to work with. It was just a great run that did come to an end. So I understand in the article it talks about how people close to Belichick think he will never coach again in the NFL. But then it also did say that 3 teams Belichick would be interested in coaching are the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the New York Giants. There is a talk show host here yesterday. Isn't this, it's kind of funny, Samter, how we were in front of this one. We just knew that it was Bill Belichick's birthday yesterday. And yesterday we did a segment, who are 3 teams Bill Belichick could be coaching? And I said next year, it's the Cowboys, it's the Giants, and I threw out a dark horse of the Miami Dolphins. If, let's say, they were like a 7-win team this year, Stephen Ross gets impatient, even though we all know Mike McDaniel's a good coach. You fire Mike McDaniel and you bring in Bill Belichick. It would be something that an older guy would end up doing just because of the name of Bill Belichick. I'm going to eliminate the Dolphins. I put out a poll question. You can find it at Zach Gelb. What's our new Twitter handle for the Infinity
INF
Sports Network?
Sportsnet.
INF Sportsnet. I got that right. You can find it there too. Where will Bill Belichick coach in 2025? The Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants. Those are the teams that ESPN gave you in the reported 3 teams that Belichick would be interested in. I'll throw another team out there, and it's the 4th choice in this poll question. What about the New Orleans Saints? Dennis Allen? Mickey Loomis said, could be the next Bill Belichick. Remember all that nonsense? Or he's like, oh, well, Belichick got off to a slow start in his first job, and it takes time. And he was kind of saying that Dennis Allen could be the next Bill Belichick, which is laughable. But we all expect the Saints to kind of stink this year, and they'll underachieve. And then also now you have the personal motivation for Bill, where he could go to the Saints in an easier division and go up against the Atlanta Falcons, a team that made you think you were getting the job, and then you didn't get the job. But if I had to rank these 1, 2, 3, and 4, Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Saints, most likely to least likely, I would say the Eagles would come in at 4. They're the least likeliest landing spot. I would say the Saints would be 3, the Giants would be 2, and the Cowboys would be 1. And here's why. The Saints, putting them at 3, and why I put the Eagles at 4. I have changed my tune on the Eagles. Don't get me wrong. Nick Sirianni has a lot to prove this year. But in your first 3 years on the job, when you've been playoffs, and you've lost in the wild card round, the Super Bowl round, and then the wild card, they brought you back, even though Belichick is friends with Howie Roseman. They brought you back because they think you could restore this, and also Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman like to have control. But the Eagles play in a weaker conference than what the AFC is, and the Eagles also had a good offseason, where you got Bryce Huff, you got Saquon Barkley, and yes, you lose Jason Kelsey, you'll lose Fletcher Cox, but look at your division. The Cowboys, they regressed big time this past year, in this offseason. What did they do? They said they were all in. As Skip Bayless would say, all in, comma, pause, my ass. That's what they were. Because they made, 2 moves this offseason? And they were very small moves. Very small signings. The Commanders are going to be playing a rookie quarterback this year. And the Giants, they stink. I don't care what the Giants do in the draft. The Giants are going to stink next year. The Giants have a good defense with their defensive line. Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau. You have Sexy Dexy in Dexter Lawrence. But that offense is putrid. Can you name me a weapon that the Giants have on the offensive side of the ball? So I think the Eagles are going to be in a good enough spot next year where bare minimum, they'll be in the divisional round to the playoffs. Doesn't mean that Sirianni's this great coach, but they'll be in the divisional round of the playoffs next year. If not, I'll be stunned. So that's what the Eagles are for. The Saints are 3. I gave you the reasons. The Giants are 2. Belichick, even when he was winning with the Patriots, has always displayed his love for the Giants, even though, ironically, most people know that Belichick lost 2 Super Bowls to the Giants, but he was on Parcells' staff when they won. And Belichick came up with one of the greatest game plans of all time as a defensive coordinator. So he still has this love for the Giants organization, and let's be real about it. There's a good chance that even though Brian Daboll, who's a Belichick guy, and won Coach of the Year in year 1, year 2 was bad, he's on the hot seat going into this year. And does anyone expect the New York Football Giants to be a playoff contending team this year? I don't. And then the reason why the Cowboys are 1, I think this is setting up for a setback for the Cowboys this year. I know the last 3 years, 12 wins, playoff misery. I don't believe right now the Cowboys are going to have a positive season. And Mike McCarthy's contract is up at the end of the year. Jerry Jones, when he got rid of Jason Garrett, his contract was up. Jerry Jones shows loyalty, even though everyone thinks he's impatient and just fires everyone rather quickly. I think Jerry Jones likes Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy has been solid. He's been fine with the Dallas Cowboys, but they can't get it done in the postseason. And you know that this would fit the Jerry Jones playbook of, hey, let's go create drama. Hey, let's go get a big name, the biggest name out there on the coaching market in Bill Belichick. And Jerry's already kind of laying down the hints that this could be possible. Where he even said, oh, yeah, I could work with Bill Belichick. You know, Bill and I have a lot of respect, profound respect for one another. And notice the Belichick camp, people close to Belichick believe he would want to coach for the Cowboys, the Eagles, or the Giants. So look what that does for the NFC East, by the way. In the NFC East, Cowboys struggle a little bit this year. Eagles, if they don't get back to form, the Giants, they struggle. You reportedly have the greatest possibly coach of all time interested in your team. A lot of those fans, Cowboys fans, Eagles fans, Giants fans, at different points of the year could be calling for the services of Bill Belichick. So here's the poll question today. Where will Bill Belichick coach in 2025? Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, or the who dat say they're going to beat them Saints? Tied in last place, 13.9% of the vote. The Eagles and the Saints. Then you have the Giants at 29.7% and the Cowboys running away with this at 42.6%. Samter, sometimes, right, and we've all done this, we have all given a take. And you say there's no chance, there's no shot that something's going to happen. And then months later you go, oh, there is a chance. There is a shot something's going to happen. Like, for example, before the NFL offseason started, right when you had the Eagles collapse, and in the middle of January, I remember saying on this show, there is no way that I will buy back in on the Eagles. And I won't buy in on them with Nick Sirianni as the coach. And then you see how the offseason plays out inside the NFC East and in the NFC, and it's like, I just gave a take where I thought the Eagles, bare minimum, will be in the divisional round to the playoffs. So I'm starting to buy back in on the Eagles. I think that's fine. That happens. You're in the moment. You say no chance. You say no shot. And you have a differentiating opinion. I remember is somewhere in December, I threw out Belichick to the Cowboys. We did like a whole segment on it. And you were very, very, very clear that you think that would never happen because you can't see Jerry Jones and Bill Belichick working together. I'm just curious. You fast forward all these months later, Bill doesn't get hired this cycle. Bill is even in this report, even though he's not saying it, but sources are saying it, that Bill would be interested in the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Giants. Jerry Jones has already made his comments about how he thinks he could work one day with Bill Belichick. How much of a chance do you give it out of 100 next year that Bill Belichick is coaching the Dallas Cowboys in 2025?
I've definitely gone higher on the potential. I think that Belichick got a taste of some humble pie this offseason.
Yeah.
Not getting hired anywhere.
Did you know that was a big saying in New England for a while? Humble pie? They used to have, back in the early 2000s when they were winning the 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, they had humble pie T-shirts.
No. I remember that saying from a while back. Maybe I heard it when I was living in Boston. But I think that maybe Belichick could put aside his ego a little bit more than I did 6 months ago, 5 months ago. And Jerry, if they fail again, they might be looking for a new quarterback. They might be looking for a new coach. They might be looking for a whole new everything. We don't know. So I think that if the Cowboys fail again this year to a point where they need a new coach.
What's failing, though, for Dallas? What is failing?
I think for this year.
Not reaching a conference championship
game?
If
they don't make the NFC championship game, unless it's like, you know, just like some fluke thing that happened in a divisional game and there's hope for next. But if they legitimately, like if they go like 15-1 or 16-1, have a great year, and then
Spoiler,
like
that won't
Dak gets hurt at halftime or whatever, and like, you know, in the second quarter, and they just lose the game, and if something crazy happens where there's like still hope they could be a championship team. Outside of that, most likely than not, like they might move on from Dak, they might move on from McCarthy. Jerry will have eaten humble pie. Belichick will have eaten humble pie. There'll be a lot of different factors in play than what it was back in January when I first said it. Back then, there was no way I could see those two coexisting. Now, maybe a little bit more. I would say 50%, 45%.
No, that's pretty big.
It's higher than what I thought. I was at 0% before.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
That's substantial.
Yeah. Yeah, if the Cowboys legitimately fail enough this year, I can see 45%.
I would break it down this way. I would say 60% Dallas. 20% the Giants. 5% the Saints. So that puts me at 85. And then 15% never coaches again. I think that math adds up. 60 plus 20, that's 80. Then plus 5, that's 85. And then 15 would be 100. So Stu's like looking at that. Stu's like, you ever see that meme of the kid with the calculator and he's doing the math? And he looks real confused? That's Stu right now. That's what Stu is doing. But I appreciate Stu confirming my math. Now, let me ask you then this question. Does Belichick ever coach again? Just go around the room, yes or no? Stu?
I think he still does. It's not a guarantee, but I think he does.
Samter, yes or no?
Yeah.
And I think so too. It would kind of suck if Belichick never coaches again. I want to see him go somewhere else. And then you would hear Robert Kraft screaming, waking up in the middle of the night, freaking out, yelling at the top of his lungs because Kraft is definitely concerned about Belichick going somewhere and having success. And then it would be portrayed as Brady wins the Super Bowl without Robert Kraft. Bill Belichick goes on to restore a team like it won't be the Falcons, but the Cowboys, win a bunch of double-digit games, maybe take them to an NFC title game, which haven't been since 1995. And then Robert Kraft and the Patriots are just stuck. And they're lost without Brady and Belichick. And that's a big fear of Robert Kraft. Coming on back, it's the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
What can't Brock Purdy do outside of beat the Kansas City Chiefs in a big game? Here is Brock Purdy on the Pat McAfee show. He was asked about this report that he saved a news anchor from a coyote. Listen up.
Yeah, I can't believe that was a real thing, but yeah, she walked by, and then sure enough, she said she's a news anchor, and I was like, dude, I just saved a news anchor's life from getting eaten by a coyote, but it's real, man. I can confirm it. So
I didn't know San Francisco had coyote. What the hell's going on over there?
I didn't either, dude. We're shooting this commercial by a hill on the outside of the city, and I see this thing, trotting by, and it had a long tail. I was like, bro, it looks like a mini wolf. And sure enough, no one was going to scream, and I was like, all right. And so I screamed, and I was like, yo, there's a coyote. And that thing went running off. But, yeah, it could have been an ugly day on the shoot, but we saved her.
Could you imagine if the media member wrote something critical or did like a newscast critical of Brock Purdy, and he just goes, oh, it's that person on the news that said all those negative things about me? Let the coyote have dinner. I think there are some athletes that would operate that way, but good on Brock Purdy saving this newscaster. Let's listen up to Stephen Jones on the all-in approach. This is courtesy of the KC Masterpiece on 105.3, The Fan in Dallas.
If you're not all in this league, you're all out. Everybody can have their own definition of what that means, but I've never not known us to be all in. If you're not really all in trying to figure out how to put together a championship football team, then you shouldn't be in this league.
What would you say to the Cowboys fans who do not believe that y'all have spent this offseason building a championship roster?
We spend max money year in and year out. All 32 can only spend the same amount of money over a 5-year stretch. And when we're all said and done, we max out our salary cap every year. We also, are looking towards signing our own guys. It doesn't mean it happens overnight, but when you're wanting to sign players like Dak and Micah and CD, then you have to hold money back if you want to have a realistic chance at signing those guys.
Two things there. They've really given the max effort this year in free agency. Oh, they signed 2 free agents. And the other thing, he brought up Dak. They restructured the deal slightly with Dak, where I think it opened up like $5 million. But everyone then reported that they're not going to give Dak a new long-term extension this year. So how could you then use Dak in that scenario? Maybe that means CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons are going to get new deals. But that's a bunch of, yeah, I know my father said something, and now I'm trying to spin it and try to present like we are doing something that obviously you did not do. But I hate when that happens. when you have an owner or part of the ownership group of a team just be wrong about something, and they can't just say, yeah, obviously it doesn't look like we've been all in. I know they're not going to say that, but to try to present it as you're a lot more intelligent than we are and you understand things a different way than we do, you guys have, there's no way you could sell me that the Cowboys have been all in this past offseason. Let's listen up to LeBron James. It's on The Shop on HBO on the award he's upset he's never won.
Is there an award you haven't won that still stings?
Yeah, Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, that's the only award that I don't have in my house. That kind of stings. I talked about this before. Like, it don't make sense. It's almost like what Jay just said about B. How can she have the most Grammys?
Yeah.
But never won Album of the Year?
Yeah.
So the year I finished second in Defensive Player of the Year award, the guy who won Defensive Player of the Year didn't even make first team all defense.
That doesn't make sense. Is that even possible?
You know what annoys me the most about LeBron? Not the Defensive Player of the Year award. There's one thing he hasn't won that annoys me. Stu, you have any idea what that is? One thing he has not won that annoys me.
I don't know.
I know it.
Okay, so Stu doesn't know me as well as I thought Stu has known me. I thought Stu was going to get it. I thought you're a LeBron expert here. Samter?
Pretty obvious, I think. It's the NBA Slam Dunk Championship.
Yep.
Yeah, I should have known that. Yeah.
Stu, I wish we had a camera on Stu during that. You know when people tell you, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed? And they give you that look, and you're the kid, and you're like, oh, that's the worst thing you could say. That's the look that Stu just gave me the moment Samter said the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. Two things annoy me with LeBron. One, he never participated in the Slam Dunk Contest, and now the Slam Dunk Contest sucks. Two, he's too buddy-buddy with everybody. I wish LeBron would just say that he hates someone because it sets the tone for the league that all rivalries aren't actually there anymore and we got to be buddy-buddy with everybody. Let's go to Reggie Miller at the end of this play-in tournament game last night. So it's a 2-point game. You're at the free throw line. Stu, what do you think you should do in this scenario when you go to the charity stripe?
That'd be make the free throw.
Right?
Yeah.
Get the lead up to 4. Instead, Reggie Miller, because he's a great basketball player, top 75 player of all time, he maybe threw something else out there courtesy of TNT.
If he makes the first one, you're up 3. Do you try to purposely miss the second one knowing that they don't have any timeouts?
No timeouts.
And they've got to go coast to coast because as soon as you miss it, time is going to start as soon as it's touched. Or do you just make them both, be up 4, and game over? These are things that are discussed as teams.
No,
do you miss and have them in the smallest chance chuck up a prayer where they tie the game and you go to overtime, right? Because it would have been you make the first and do you miss the second and have the clock run out? What happens if they grab the ball and chuck up a full court shot and then you go into overtime? Or do you make the last shot, go up by 4, and then he said it, the game is over? Over. It's a tough decision. Do I try to elongate the game and keep a chance that I could lose, or do I end the game? Oh, yeah, I end the game. I've always thought, and I said this, and a lot of people don't like this, when everyone was slobbering over Tony Romo, I said, Tony Romo's fine. He's not as great. He's not God's gift like everyone paints him out to be. That aged pretty well. The Manning cast, when it first came out, everyone's slobbering over it. I said, it's good, it's entertaining, rather watch a traditional broadcast. I think a lot of people agree with me on that one. Reggie Miller, I've always said, I've never loved him on a broadcast. Like, he's fine. I think he's a better radio interview than he is an analyst in the booth. So, wonderful job there by Reggie Miller. Let's listen up to Draymond Green on the future of Klay Thompson.
Obviously, we want Klay back. It's obvious that we want to continue what we've been doing, but I understand he got a decision to make. He's going to make the best decision for him. Team got a decision to make. They'll make the best decision for the team, but I got no reason to go into it like, oh, man, they're not going to do right by Klay. They did right by me. They've done right by Steph. They've done right by all of us. Klay tore his ACL. They paid him $160 million. So I have no reason to think that our ownership group aren't going to take care of us the way we've taken care of this organization. Like I said, ultimately that decision will be Clay's. But I don't look at it like, oh man, they're going to only do what's. There's a lot of organizations that will only do what's best for the organization. This ain't one of them.
That's the problem with the Warriors. They continue to do right by the players. Steph Curry, you want to give him a brand new spanking deal? Would make sense. Had that work last year when they gave Draymond a new deal. Disaster this year. Klay Thompson wants to take a big time discount. Okay. I go pay him $18 million a year. He wants a 40-something million dollar contract. Not worth it anymore. Here is Steph Curry on the future of Klay Thompson as well.
Can never see myself, not with those two guys. I understand this league changes and there's so many things that go into it, and we're not going to play forever, but, we've experienced so much together, and at the end of the day, again, I know they want to win. I know I want to win, and that's all I worry. That's all I'm worried about. I just want to win, and whatever that means, I want to win.
Well, Steph, if you want to win, you got to go to a new level, and you got to realize the group that you once won championships with needs significant retooling, and you need to say goodbye to some of your friends, and you have the power to do that, but you're refusing to do so. Here is Steve Kerr. Let's go 3 for 3 here on the future of Klay Thompson.
We need Klay back. I mean, he's...
No, you don't!
I know he had a tough night tonight, but what he represents for us, the spacing, he's still got good years left. And I know I speak for everybody in the organization. We want him back. Obviously, there's business at hand, and that has to be addressed. But what Klay has meant to this franchise, as good as he still is, we desperately want him back.
I have Steve Kerr's number. He has come on the show before, back in the pandemic, when there were no sports. I'm going to text Steve Kerr tonight and see if he'll come on the show at some point this offseason, some point in the next few weeks. Because I just want to simply ask him this. Why do you think you need Klay Thompson back? Why did you think it was essential to bring Draymond Green back? And also, I know you'd never say yes to this, but if you could have a do-over again with Draymond, would you still give him the contract that the front office gave him? Because it doesn't make sense to me when you have a player like Steph who is so great and could still go win a championship while you're still doubling and tripling down on Draymond and Klay when their better years are behind him. With Draymond, the juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore. And with Klay, he's got to take a big-time discount if you actually want to bring him back. All righty, one more I'll give you. This is a late edition. This may be the creepiest moment that I've heard at a press conference at a long time. So Caitlin Clark was introduced today with their WNBA team in Indiana. And you know the love sign that Caitlin Clark does, to her friends and families and everything, the hand sign. You ever see that? Yeah, see, Manny knows. It's the heart. So Greg Doyle, who is a columnist, I think, for the Indy Star, he is the creep of the day. He did the hand signal, and this exchange occurred.
Hi, Caitlin. Greg Doyle, Indy Star. Real quick, let me do this.
You like that?
I like that you're here. That you're here.
I do that at my family after every game, so.
Okay, well, let's
cool.
start doing it to me, and we'll be able to get along just fine. So.
That's weird. That's awkward. And also, I haven't really heard Greg Doyle speak in a long time. In a very long time. Because I stopped listening or reading anything by Greg Doyle ever since he threw this nonsense out with Deflategate and all that just stupidity. I also think he was the same guy, I could be wrong on this, that was going after Danny Hurley after he won the championship and didn't even know who Danny Hurley was. And was like, oh, at least Purdue won with class. I may be confusing all these Deflategate morons with one another. So I want to say it was Greg Doyle. But that was just creepy. And Santer, did it sound like he was a little bit in the bag?
No, it just sounded creepy.
I thought he was slurring a little bit.
Caitlin Clark seemed to find it interesting. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she was just playing nice, but she seemed to be okay with it.
Well, she's a big-time star. She handles everything well.
Yeah.
I can't find one negative thing about Caitlin Clark. Outside of maybe in the first 2 rounds of the women's NCAA tournament, the antics on the court a little bit, but I wasn't annoyed by that, but some other people were. So she's perfect. She literally is. But I would not see, I've been at these press conferences. I could never imagine myself grabbing the microphone and saying, Caitlin, oh yeah, I want you to do that sign to me. That's just weird. And I know there's a lot of weird people in the media and a lot of the journalists, like, they just don't have human skills and they're just awkward. I've been in these press conferences, some of the most awkward people you ever meet. But can you read the room? Just a little bit. That's all I ask. All righty, there's a news brief. Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Update time. Here he is, Manny Rodriguez.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Thank you, Zach. An attorney representing former football star and celebrity criminal defendant O.J. Simpson said the former USC star was cremated on Wednesday and no public memorial is planned. Simpson died on April 10th at his Las Vegas home at the age of 76 after a battle with prostate cancer. NBA Raptors forward Jontay Porter has been issued a lifetime ban from the league due to gambling violations. Zion Williamson will miss Friday's winner-go-home game against the Kings due to a strained hamstring. The play-in keeps rolling tonight in the NBA. The Sixers and Heat will tip off at 7 Eastern. The winner gets the 7 seed and a series with the Knicks. The loser will await the winner of the Bulls-Hawks game slated for 9:30 Eastern. To the Diamond, Braves beat the Astros in extras 5-4. Rangers beat the Tigers by that same score, 5-4. The O's beat the Twins 4-2, courtesy of a walk-off home run by Cedric Mullins. The Giants over the Marlins 3-1. The Mets beat the Pirates 9-1. The Brewers shut out the Padres 1-0. The Nationals did the same to the Dodgers. They did a 2-0 though. And the Rangers, they beat the White Sox in Game 1 of a doubleheader 4-2. In progress, the Blue Jays are up on the Yankees 4-2. The Mariners up on the Reds 2-1. The Cubs have taken a 4-2 lead on the D-backs. The A's lead the Cardinals 6-3. And in Game 2 of that doubleheader, the Royals and the White Sox are scoreless. I'm Manny Rodriguez.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
It's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Austin and Lower Merion says, Zach, who has more pressure on them tonight? Is it the Sixers or the Heat? You could submit a question by tweeting at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb, ZACHGELB, using the hashtag AskThePros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. The answer is that there's more pressure on the Sixers tonight. The Sixers are home. The Sixers are on an 8-game winning streak. You have Joel Embiid back, and also I think this is a big deal. I know we've seen these teams meet up in the postseason before, and technically this is the postseason, even though I don't think the postseason starts until we have the 8 teams on each side. But the Sixers lose tonight to the Heat. It's another instance where Jimmy Butler gets the last laugh at the Sixers' expense. And I know that the reporting of it is all out of sync. Like, people say that it's Tobias Harris's fault with the contract he got, and Jimmy Butler's a part of that, why Jimmy Butler isn't back. No, it's because Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler didn't have a good relationship. And at that point in the Sixers franchise, they were still optimistic that Ben Simmons was going to turn out to be their second piece on a championship contending team. And also, let's be real about Jimmy Butler when he left Philadelphia. Good player. Didn't turn into the great player until after he left Philadelphia. Like, Jimmy Butler was always solid, always good in Chicago, always good in Minnesota, was good in Philadelphia. But people started looking at Jimmy Butler as a star or a 1 or a 1A when he got Miami right to the two NBA finals. That wasn't always the case with Jimmy Butler. There's been some revisionist history. But if, let's say, the Sixers lose tonight, and then they go on to play the winner of the Bulls and the Hawks, and then somehow they lose that game, it's another probably moment where Joel Embiid is saying, man, or even after the game tonight if they lose, man, wish we still had Jimmy Butler on this team. So I look at the matchup tonight. This game is more important to the Philadelphia 76ers. But with that being said, kind of like what Stu was saying, where Stu was, this is the reverse way. Like, you want to win this game tonight? But Stu was saying that last night he wanted the Lakers to lose so you could avoid the Nuggets and then go and play the Thunder if you were to win. Now, I had a big problem with Stu's logic earlier because Stu is then assuming, and you know what happens when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, that the Lakers would actually be able to win the next game. And there's no game this year the Lakers have been a lock-in. So that's why I think you get in when you could get in. And even though, yes, Stu, I get your point that the Denver Nuggets are not going to lose that series, and at most it probably goes 5 games. And trust me, if anyone knows how the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers series usually play on out, it's me. Because last year with my sister and my brother-in-law living in Denver, Colorado, I said to my brother-in-law, oh, I got us tickets. We're going to go to Game 5. It will be awesome. They'll probably close out that night. And the Lakers got swept in that series up against Denver. So I had a flight out to Denver. At least I got to see my niece and my sister and my brother-in-law. But it was very unfortunate when you plan a trip and you think something's going to happen, and then it did not. Tonight, to bring this full circle, look at the difference. And this is not to be disrespectful to the Knicks. I have a lot of respect for Leon Rose. I love Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson actually today may be my favorite player in the NBA. For years, it was either Giannis Antetokounmpo or Damian Lillard, and I love Damian Lillard. Jalen Brunson now feels, I'm not saying they play the same way, but he feels like Damian Lillard in Portland, where, yes, Dame is a bigger star than Jalen Brunson, but that was the face of the franchise. They competed so hard, and I don't want to say cut corners because that sounds like it's a slight, but Dame could have left multiple times to go join a super team. Now, I know Jalen Brunson's stock has just risen ever since he got to New York, but the two of them, the way that I love Dame is how now I love Jalen Brunson. And if people listen to the show, how long you listen to it, you know that I had a big time man crush on Damian Lillard when he was with the Portland Trail Blazers. So Brunson's my favorite player right now, but you get to play the Knicks instead of the Celtics. You feel like you could beat the Knicks if you're the Sixers or the Heat. And I understand that the Heat would have a confidence against the Celtics. I don't see how the Sixers can have any confidence against the Celtics, but that's a big difference in winning tonight because then you get to 7 and you go up against the Knicks compared to having to then win the playing game. You drop down then to the 8th seed, and then you go up against Boston. So that's kind of when I look at it tonight. This game is of big importance. For the winner of this game could go on a little bit of a run. I think the Heat win tonight. Even if the Sixers win, I think it will be a very good series up against the Knicks. I could see the Sixers winning the series up against the Knicks, but I can't sit here and believe that this is going to be the year that the Sixers end up in the NBA Finals. Because the Sixers have met their limit where they've been a team that just gets to the second round and lose. But the Sixers team did lose Embiid for a big chunk of it. And they went from being a top 3 seed now all the way down to a 7 seed. And we'll see if they could get into the 7 seed tonight. But this is a team that's 47-35, even with all those games that Joel Embiid did have to miss. All righty, that concludes the Zach Gelb Show on a Wednesday on the Infinity Sports Network. One of our favorite guests ever is going to stop by tomorrow. Michigan defensive lineman Chris Jenkins, as he's getting set to hear his name get called next week for the NFL Draft. I'm very happy that he's going to be joining us. Last time we were both wearing sunglasses, but he's so entertaining. And we'll spend a few minutes with him tomorrow, and we'll have a few other surprises as well. Great job from Stu as always, even though we had some Samter takes from Stu today. Well, zany takes. And big thanks to Michael Samter as well. Each and every one of you for listening and interacting with the show. And we'll be back mañana at 3 p.m. Eastern noon Pacific. Have a great rest of your night. Enjoy the 2 games in the Eastern Conference. The NHL season coming to a close. You know some of those matches, but the last regular season game is Thursday. You got Heat Sixers tonight, Hawks and Bulls as well. We'll talk tomorrow, everybody. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.